bad that like I'm so short, because my background I actually feel like is pretty dope, and I still have more posters to put there, but hopefully I can figure that out in the future because I love it. But anyways, hello. So I recently commented on a Euphoria video, which was the last scene in the show for the finale, about how I was actually in the show, and I gained a lot of clout coins on that, so I'm here to cash them in today because I did have a lot of people asking me questions in there, and one person asked me if I was going to make a video, and I said that I was. So here I am. I told people to come subscribe to my channel, to, you know, sit tight for it, wait for it to come around, and then like a lot of people were subscribing to my like just lurking channel, and I was like, no, wait, don't do that, come over here. So I'll just hop right into it. I actually took some notes to make sure that I like covered all bases. So what I'll start with is how I get these types of gigs. So I'm part of an organization. I have been a part of them since I was 18 back in 2015. I have been blessed with the opportunity to like be a part of so many TV shows, commercials, a movie. I've been in amazing parades. Like I was in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I was in the Rose Parade. You know, I've just been blessed with all these amazing opportunities, and it's so great. The organization themselves has been a part of so many different film-related gigs. I don't really know how to explain that. I'll read you off a few of them from like their Wikipedia. So what we've been told like many times, especially like, you know, as long as I've been in the band, was that the Marching Tigers have been dubbed as like Hollywood's band because of how many companies sort of reach out to our group to get us to perform in, you know, all of their different things. So to name just a few of them, which I believe would probably be the most popular that people would recognize, is Good Burger, which was a Nickelodeon movie, Austin Powers, American Pie, Princess Diaries, Bring It On, Bratz. I'll try to include as many clips as I can. No promises though. They've been in Monk, Boston Public, Charm, Gilmore Girls, Monday Night Live, America's Funniest Home Videos, The Bachelor, Veronica Mars, Hell's Kitchen, Parks and Recreation, a ton of commercials, Wendy's, McDonald's, JCPenney, a ton of music videos, System of a Down, Sum 41, The Ting Tings, Weird Al, and personally if I could name, you know, some of the ones that I was in a Dodge commercial, a State Farm commercial. I was in a movie called Battle of the Sexes, The Bachelorette, Lip Sync Battle, Arrested Development, Euphoria, and I'm sure there's probably some in between there that I'm missing. This might be an interesting part. I really don't think about it that much, but I know that when, you know, people ask and I tell them, they're like, whoa, really? Some of the actors and actresses that I've worked with on, you know, sets are Steve Carell, Emma Stone, Chrissy Teigen, Brandon Quinn, and most recently Zendaya. So yeah, those were all amazing experiences. There's some like in particular that I would love to make videos on depending on how well received this video is. Specifically the Macy's Day Parade, maybe even the Rose Parade. That was a really weird one, which probably would make for an interesting story, but I don't know whether or not I'll get in trouble for making that one, so we'll see. Yeah, our organization is amazing. We have our names tied to so many different films. It's just an amazing group to be a part of. I'll give you a brief rundown of what like a typical filming day would be. So I'm editing right now and I felt like it was really important for me to go and add this back in, which is actually why I took out the name of the organization from the video, because I don't want to get kicked. The way that I'm explaining how these days sort of go out like a filming day, I'm speaking from my experience and the gigs that I've been on. This is no way a representation of any of the other gigs that the group has done compared to the ones that I've done and everybody else has done. Like, I'm only like taking out a small piece of the puzzle. The experiences that I had definitely do not represent everything else that the group has done. I may have been a part of some that were very lax and didn't require us to be doing a whole lot of like running around and playing and this and that, but there definitely are events where the group did do that. I was just not a part of any of those. So the Euphoria gig was pretty much my only experience with something as demanding as that one was. I don't want to make it seem like I'm in any way trying to kind of dampen the success that the group has had in any way. They earned the name Hollywood's band for a reason. Like, they earned it. That title wasn't just given to them. As a group, collectively, have busted their asses off to make it where they are now. And I don't want to make it seem like how I like misspoke about it is taking away from their integrity, success. Like, you get what I mean? I'm just really bad at wording things sometimes, but I just wanted to make that clear. So back to the video, bye. So how a typical day would go on set is we would arrive usually in the morning. We'd get to have breakfast before we move on to either rehearsal or like a holding area, which is where we kind of just play the game of hurry up and wait for whenever the directors or whoever decide that they need us. So sometimes we could be sitting there for like hours before we are actually needed. Sometimes, you know, depending on what the gig is, sometimes we'll have like maybe half an hour to an hour of actual filming time, and the rest just kind of like taking a look at what the rest of the set looks like. And it's honestly such an interesting experience to be able to be on the other side of the camera and see how things work, because then it kind of makes things really different when you're actually watching movies or TV shows. It gives you a different perspective. That's how that goes. Like, first off, we usually have breakfast, go to our holding, then sometimes we'll hit rehearsal or filming, and again, that's on like the director's watch. Whenever we're needed, we just like get up and go. And then usually we have lunch, and then back to our holding area, rehearse, film whenever we're needed, and then we go home. You know, sometimes we actually have music to play. Sometimes we play something and they'll like either use our audio or they'll play a track over it. Sometimes they just want a band to like look pretty. There have been a lot of gigs I've been a part of where they want us to just mime, so we're not actually like playing and making sound, but yeah, it's still a really cool experience. I'm editing again, and I'm going to just cut a huge chunk out of this and replace it with this. Basically what I was trying to say is there have not been many gigs where I've just been completely laid out from how exhausting the work was, just because it hasn't been that physically demanding. Like, we've done a lot where we actually put a lot of work into it, but nothing that had us like running laps, basically, leading into this next clip, which brings us to Euphoria. Apparently, from some of the older cats that have been a part of the organization longer than I have, something completely different from anything they've ever done either. The first day that we get there, I don't even remember like what time we left for the first day. I know that I had class that day and then we left shortly after, so that might have been somewhere around like 12:30 to 1 o'clock that we left no, that was the second day. So the first day was probably sometime around like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., somewhere around there. So we left sometime in the morning, pretty much. It took us about 2 hours to get there. So we get there, we may or may not have eaten. My memory is really bad. This took place in May this year, May 2019. This was May 22nd to 23rd, I believe. So, you know, we get there, we probably ate, and we were all checking in, so, you know, they need our IDs so they can check us off of their list to make sure that we're all there. Then usually we get our W-9s, if I remember that correctly. I've only done my taxes a few times, so I don't know. But like, considering I've done these gigs so many times, you'd think I would remember, but you know, pretty much the taxes and like deductible stuff, we do all that. We did that for both days. And then we went right to, I think we sat around for a bit, maybe like a little under 1 hour, maybe like half an hour before they actually needed us for rehearsal. And from the time we our rehearsal time went from once we got there to once we left, which is like the longest rehearsal time and like just the most work in general I've put into a single day till the next day. So that was crazy because it was a lot of physical activity. You know, as I said, normally they don't have us play on set because usually they want to play some type of music over us. As you may have seen if you watched Euphoria or you watched that scene that we were a part of, they played Zendaya's song over it. So they had us doing a lot of choreography, which was like, I don't want to say it was anything like super crazy, but definitely, you know, got you breathing a little heavy after like how many times we rehearsed it over and over again. And it was very, very interesting. We were working with another group, which I believe was called Drumline Live. I could be wrong about that, but it was a group of some amazing musicians. They knew how to do the choreography really well. Like, I'll give, like, that was amazing. And we were all, you know, kind of trying to follow their lead. Yeah, that's pretty much how the first day went. I want to say it was a full working day, so we maybe might have finished sometime around like 5 to 6. You know, it was a full day of rehearsing, a full day of physical activity, which for a rehearsing day is the most work that I've ever put in, which was awesome because, you know, usually it's just kind of like sitting around waiting and then you're a background extra for a bit, or you're just kind of standing there playing or miming or something. But, you know, for this one, we were like, you know, doing some actual choreography, doing a little bit of like swinging around and dancing and stuff, and it was really cool, you know? Next filming day comes around. This filming day was 1 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following day. This was crazy because, you know, again, if you watch that scene, you can see that it's dark outside. It's in the middle of the night. So, you know, of course, it was an overnight thing. So how that day went was, you know, we get there, we eat, go to rehearsing maybe? Something like that. Both days it was actually raining on and off, I believe. So there were times where we had to break because it was raining, go back to our holding areas and just kind of chill for a bit. But I think mostly how the day went was like we were rehearsing and then we went straight to filming. But, you know, in between that time, you know, when we took our break for lunch, we started hair, makeup, and dress. There were some people that went to go get their lunch, some people that were getting, you know, their hair, makeup, everything done up for the scene, and then we switched off. What we ended up doing, you probably don't see it super clear because I don't think that they really get a close-up of our faces, but we had our faces fully airbrush painted, just like fully covered in silver glitter, like chunky glitter. We had a bunch of eyeliner ringed around our eyes so it was black. Our lips were black. It was just some totally out there stuff, but, you know, basically to make it look reflective as we're, you know, doing the thing. And you might have seen the people in the choir. They looked a lot cooler than we did. They had the, you know, dripping glitter from the eyes as like Zendaya did. And we were also given a wardrobe. We had black sweats, black shoes. Don't remember what the shirt was. I think it was like some regular just like burgundy t-shirt, and then we had our hoodies. Mine actually didn't fit me because I wasn't one of the first people to get to wardrobe, so they had to give me some stuff that didn't fit me, and it was huge on me, which kind of made me sad because like when we took some group pictures, it made me look like big. We got all that after everybody was like fully done up, had wardrobe and everything. We had to sit for a bit until it was time for us to go out there and film. Choir had already been doing their thing before we got there. We got there, we did a million takes over and over again of our like choreography part. You see at the end of that scene where we all fall, like we all kind of faint, die, whatever. We did that scene over and over and over. I couldn't even tell you how many times we did it. You can see that like the ground is kind of wet because they sprayed it down so many times and made the ground like soaking wet, like there were puddles everywhere, and we had to do that scene over and over again. Just I'm not gonna lie, that sucked because it was cold, the ground is all wet, and we had to fall over and over again, and the water was like seeping through our clothes. I mean, at the very least, we didn't have to like take those home, but I was wearing a shirt underneath the clothes that they gave us, and it was soaking wet by the time that we were done. That sucked. We were literally filming until 6 a.m. the next morning. Like, there were very few breaks here and there in between, mostly because they were working with the choir dancers and Zendaya, and they didn't need our part yet where we come out from behind the houses and into the street. And then like in between there we had like a couple 5 to 10 minute breaks in between. And at some of the points where we had those breaks, I want to say there was one of them where we might had a break for like 20 to 30 minutes. They had us go into the houses for holding, so like you can see that that scene takes place in a neighborhood and we got to chill out inside the houses. The interesting thing about this that you probably wouldn't know unless you've actually been on a filming set is that typically these houses are not like actual houses. Like the outside looks like some really nice like bougie type of houses, but when you go inside they're completely empty. There's nothing in there but like floors, and even then they're not like fully finished floors. There's like kind of like planks all over the place. There's no like solid roof. Like if you're in a room right now, look up at the roof and like you can see that it's, or like it's a ceiling. There were no ceilings in there. It was just like the roof, and like you see like the planks and everything like, you know, unfinished, and it's like they didn't really need them because they just needed the set of like a neighborhood. You know, they don't really do anything inside the houses. So one of them was one of the holding areas that we were in when we had that like 20 to like 30 minute break. It could have like even been longer or shorter than that. Honestly, I don't know, because at that point it might have been like 12 or like 1 or 2 a.m. Fuck if I know. Like it gets a little blurry around there because it was so late and we were all like so tired. But part of that house I think may have had like a working garage. The garage was open, like they had chairs for us to grab and just like, you know, open up and stuff. That was cool. We got to sit around and just talk about stuff. A lot of people sitting there like because they're so tired. And in all of the houses that were the holding areas, they had a bunch of food put out. Maybe not like actual food, like, you know, sandwiches and stuff, but like snacks and bagels and donuts, a lot of candy and like chips and stuff. Yeah, it's like after a minute, and especially when it gets so late, it's like it kind of makes you feel a little sick after a while. And then after a while we go back to filming and we do this scene over and over again, the falling in the water, the, you know, the choreography that we did. And you really don't see a lot of it when you watch the scene because we're far in the back, but you do see kind of like a little bit of shine and glimmer here and there from like the tubas and other instruments, which is pretty cool. If you watch the video from Genius about I'm blanking on his name right now, but the guy who composed all the music for Euphoria, at the end there's a little clip of our drum line. Yeah, and like they didn't use us playing, but they did use the audio of our drum line playing, which is really cool. That's pretty much how that whole day went, how that whole experience went. It was pretty cool, like to me. For me, that is the most work that I've ever put into any filming gig, and it was amazing. Like for me, like because of how much work we put into it, I feel like that gave me bragging rights. Like just to lay it out, like that gave me serious bragging rights. You know, I do have bragging rights for all the other stuff I've been a part of, been in movies, TV shows, you know, whatever the hell you want to list there. This one, I personally felt like I earned that because of how much work I put into it. This gig, they made us work for that money, and you know, it was just awesome. The best part about it is that when we got paid, we were told we were gonna be paid like a flat rate, and we ended up getting almost $100 to $200 more. So that was awesome. And the food was bomb. Like I have never had such good food at a gig. So I did get a lot of questions from people on the YouTube video of that Euphoria scene. Even though I did try to answer as many questions as I could on there, I'm just going to read them back again and give more answers. So the first one here says, how did you get to be a part of this awesome opportunity? And as I explained earlier in the video, it's I get these gigs through the band that I'm a part of. And then she asks, are you guys based in California? Yes, we are. Did you have to audition to be a part of the band? I personally did not because of the year that I started. However, I think that you do now, and the auditions mostly are for the marching band itself. because there are, once the fall is over, because that is the marching season, when the winter and spring come around, those are pep band season. So for those, you don't really need to audition, I think. But as for the marching band, I didn't have to audition. I think you might still. The way that the cast gets picked for these gigs is always different. Usually if you are actually in the courses for whatever semester it is, you get priority. You also get priority by seniority. Usually we have to send in our headshots to our director for whatever gig it is. There's only been like once or twice, I believe, where the gigs were picked by headshot. That was one where I didn't get picked for the gig. Yeah, that's how that goes. How long did rehearsal, learning the song, and movements take? So as I said, they didn't actually need us to play the actual song. The rehearsal day was the first day. I want to say maybe we got there at like 9 or 10 because of how long it took us to get there. It was like 2 hours away from it was like a 2-hour drive from where we were, and that first day was pretty much like entirely spent rehearsing. Did you get to meet the cast? If so, you're a lucky bitch. ONG XD. No, we did not get to meet the cast because for that scene, because it took like a day to film, none of the other casts were on set, and you know, they might have even changed locations specifically for the set. I don't know. The only part of the cast that was there was Zendaya. We didn't actually get to like personally meet her one-on-one. We did take a group picture with her. I'll try to see if I can find that. I've actually never seen it. I remember taking the picture, which was really cool. When it comes to being on set and, you know, working with the celebrities, we are not supposed to approach them and like fangirl and stuff, because they're there to do their job and work as you are. You are both there to do the same job, and it's very unprofessional for you to kind of like just fangirl out and be like, oh my god, can I get a picture? You're amazing, you know? And a couple people do that here and there. How that typically goes is you are most likely not going to be contacted or approved to be in a future gig. So I've never done that. But on the State Farm gig that I was a part of, when we worked with Brandon Quinn, if you're unfamiliar with him, he was a part of the Fosters. That's where I knew him from, at least, because I don't really watch too many TV shows, but I did watch the Fosters, and I was looking at him when we were on set because he was like pretty much standing right next to me and another girl, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, you look so familiar, but I can't place from where. And he's like, yeah, I worked on the Fosters. And I'm like, oh my god, like that is probably the only time that I've ever like pretty much been like, oh my god, I'm working on set with this person. But yeah, that was really cool. He talked to us a bit. But yeah, did we meet the cast? The full cast? No, but we did meet Zendaya. Call me dramatic, but I would have cried if I met Zendaya. You know what, honestly, she is a lot taller than I thought she would be. It's probably because she's very skinny, and so that makes her look a lot taller as well. But she is so pretty. She is beautiful, honestly. Did you get a pic with Z? Yes, but again, I have not seen it. I will try to find it and put it in here if I can. That's freaking incredible. Where did y'all film this scene? Again, I don't remember the exact location. I just remember that it was 2 hours away from where we were. So I'll try to figure that out if I can. The set itself, it kind of like from the outside looks like it's a ranch. I've also worked on like another film set that looked similar, where it looks like a ranch from the outside, and then it's like a full, like either like a city or a neighborhood on the inside. What's your main channel? This is my main channel. Hello. A question that makes me curious, in what month and year was this recorded? The scene that we did was recorded in May 2019. The actual filming day was May 23rd. That is it. That is my whole story. I really hope that I covered everything and didn't leave anything out. I believe that's it. I know they have a very small channel, so I don't know how many people are actually gonna watch this. I hope it's a little bit more than 100. That would be cool. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. and subscribe if you like this and want to see another video like this. I would really love to make a video on my experience with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, because that experience in itself, we literally made history with like record-breaking temperatures, and it was just an incredible once-in-a-lifetime, I think I peaked at this moment type of experience. So if you would like to hear about that, please let me know in the comments, and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for anything else I have planned. I've really never been like a story time type of person, and then maybe this is really not a story time in itself, but I do have a lot of things I want to talk about if I do have an audience to listen. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.